Hi folks, it's Charles and we're offering a ministry of safe mold solutions. So folks, if you're watching this video, it means that you found us on the web, typically or been referred by one of our past customers. And so I'm here to tell you a little bit about what you get when you bring us into your home to deliver a safe mold solution for an attic or crawl space or basement mold problem. So, I'm Charles, and over 14 years ago, I developed what's been called the country's first all-natural or green mold removal technique. And I, of course, didn't call it green. The green movement didn't exist 14 years ago. But what happened is I started to treat mold as a side business in relationship to my basement waterproofing enterprise. And what I discovered in my first 6 months of doing mold remediation really opened my eyes to a whole new world. And what happened to me is we contracted work in the first 6 months of doing mold remediation, and we had 3 customers that were ladies that had developed something called multiple chemical sensitivity disorder. And, you know, multiple chemical sensitivity disorder is a condition where your nose becomes hypersensitized to chemical odors. 2 of these women were housewives who had finished basements that had severe water problems, and they were living 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with, toxic mold literally underneath their feet and circulating throughout their HVAC system. And the 3rd lady was part of a large chemical plant explosion in Cleveland, Ohio that happened some 15 years ago or so, called Ross Chemical. And she was the one that gave me the name multiple chemical sensitivity disorder to add to a name to a series of characteristics that these women all shared. And what I discovered is that people with this disorder, their noses just work better. So in fact, they sort of become like a human bloodhound. And as I began to grasp that, what was happening is they were complaining of having a reaction after we had treated their home. And folks, our air tests were clean, the jobs were beautiful, the customers were happy with the quality of the work, the husbands weren't having a reaction, yet the wives were claiming to be made sick by the chemicals that we used. And what we were using at the time was EPA approved. It was biodegradable, supposedly safe stuff. And I later discovered that the EPA doesn't require testing on humans or human sensitivity testing in order to understand whether a chemical is long-term good or bad for people. And I also discovered that biodegradable simply means that after the killing action, the product becomes sort of a food for biological organisms, biodegradable. And so I quickly began to realize after I started to research this disorder, I wondered, if the only difference between them and I was that their noses worked better, what was in these chemicals that I was using? So I started doing research, and this was back when you could still access the university white papers without having to pay a fee. And we discovered that the main chemical in our product, which is called a quaternary ammonia, that we were using didn't kill the spores, it didn't kill the seeds, rather the spores, which are the seeds, it didn't kill the root structures, and it contained a carcinogen that had been known to cause cancer in laboratory animals. And so I thought, my gosh, if I'm going to keep in this mold business, I just cannot continue to apply a product that has a demonstrated effect that was adverse with some of my customers. And so I really didn't know what to do, so I went back to the old drawing board and I started calling professors from different universities. And I started talking to the heads of the mycology departments, and I would get passed up and down the chain to a particular scientist that could help. And I was looking for things that we could use to kill the mold that would be safe for people. And I wanted to make my system far more effective than what we had been doing when I discovered that our chemical, which was label approved as a fungicide, didn't kill the spores and didn't kill the root structures. And folks, it's the root structures that really are the mold organism. And the root structures live beneath the surface of the mold. So if you've got mold growing on this ledge right here, it's the root structures that are embedded beneath that are the real body of the organism. And so what we discovered was that these organisms, these mold organisms, really needed to be assaulted in a series with a series of processes that are designed to eradicate what's there, eliminate the visual evidence of what's there, to kill the root structures, which are the hidden parts of the mold organism, and then to guarantee that they won't come back, and to kill all the spores inside the structure. And we developed what we call our all-natural or safe mold removal system some nearly 14 years ago. And we've had the opportunity to apply that system in nearly 38 states in the United States and counting. And we have treated projects that are as severe as whole house guts, where we have worked for some of the largest lenders in this country, like HSBC Household and Wells Fargo and Chase and Fannie Mae, and the largest lenders that we have in our country. They've used us for years and years to treat severe mold houses where the entire house has to be gutted and put into dumpsters. And to specializing for the last 5 or 6 years of our business in treating attic and crawl space mold, as well as basement rafter mold. And who am I, besides having developed this new system? Well, I'm the author of a book called The Ultra Dry Basement, a basic guide to understanding and correcting foundation water problems. And I'm also the author of a book called Got Mold, Now What? A basic guide to understanding and correcting mold in your home. But most importantly, I'm also a mold victim. Yeah, that's right. I've had mold growing inside my own body on 3 separate occasions, 2 of which were related to occupational exposure, doing mold cleanups. And the 3rd time, I was a victim of a mold problem in my own home from a hidden plumbing leak that none of us even knew of. So what we're going to share with you today is exactly what it's like to do business with us. I'm going to explain in a series of videos what happens when you've got an attic mold problem, a crawl space mold problem, or a basement mold problem, and what it's like to hire us. So as you get these videos in your email box over the course of the next few days, I encourage you to take the time to watch them. They'll be short segments, and in each one we'll explain another aspect of what it's like to do business with us. And our ministry is to remove the mold from your home and your life and help your body recover its natural state without mold, mold-free. I'm Charles. Thanks for watching.